Amen. We got another talking head video today. So, Russia, Biden, and inflation. We might do Russia, inflation, Biden. Actually, Russia, Biden, they're all mixed up. That cow is driving me nuts. All right, so I made a video last weekend about, or earlier in the week about, Russia's not going to invade Ukraine, and a number of you took great exception to me about that. Some of you didn't. Well, if you're paying attention, there's been ominous signs over there about, there possibly escalations. Let me tell you Russia's endgame. I did some research, and this wasn't hard to find out. So, Russia's still not going to start a war with Ukraine. Now, when I say Russia's not going to invade Ukraine, Russia's not going to invade the uninvaded parts of Ukraine any further right now. Russia's been invading Ukraine for the last 7 to 8 years, starting in 2014. Russia's goal right now is to negotiate a status change in these two breakaway republics in this area region called Donbass, which is in the extreme eastern edge of Ukraine, right up against Russia. And it's the territory Russia's got to take over in order to make Crimea be attached to Russia physically. Now, I just now been looking at this map, so I don't have it all. It's not perfect. I don't think that the actual Donbass region will actually accomplish it, but it will almost attach the Crimea and that Russian naval base that has been their goal for the last hundreds of years to mainland Russia. All right. So these two, that's really bad lighting. These two breakaway republics are already dominated by Russia. They're allegedly trying to be separatist states, but they're not. They're just Russian proxies. Like I said, in the extreme eastern part of the country. If you look at a map of Russia and Ukraine, Ukraine's like, I don't know what's the best way to describe it. It's kind of like on the southwestern little bottom part of Russia there. Nothing of Russia's little, but and this Donbass region is butted up to the extreme western edge of Russia, of southwestern Russia, or eastern Ukraine. Yeah. All right, so Russia's been trying to get... All right, you just have to deal with this bad light. That's really bad light. Let's go to the other side of the truck. Sorry, I'm trying to get some things done before sundown here. That's not much better. So that's all that's going on here. They don't want to invade the rest of Ukraine. They don't really care that much about the rest of Ukraine. They can accomplish their goals in the rest of Ukraine, whether or not they actually have troops there. That's better. They want to tie these two little breakaway republics in Donbass closer to Russia so they can make the naval base in Crimea be part of the integral landmass of Russia. This is all that's going on here. It's no more complicated than that. Now, the complicated part is that Putin didn't think he could get away with it. Well, now this is all speculation by some redneck living at the bottom of a dirt road, top of a valley in the unfashionable end of northeast Georgia. But be that as it may, he kind of knew that this was a good time to try, because President Poopy Pants there in the White House is as weak as he's ever going to be right now. Or America is if he waits till the midterms and suddenly the Republicans have some sway over President Poopy Pants, they might not be. This is the best time. This is his best time right now. And so he put all these troops on the border to see what kind of concessions he could wring out of Ukraine, and he was very pleasantly shocked to find out that President Poopy Pants would give him whatever he wanted. Whatever he wanted, President Poopy Pants was going to give him. So that's all we got going on right now. It's brinksmanship. Putin's already won. Russia's going to get some major concessions out of this. Now, there's something else going on here, too, where Russia is evacuating civilians out of these territories. And they say they're evacuating the civilians out of these territories because, you know, the Ukrainians are going to attack and commit a genocide. That's not, no one believes that. What's going on is that they're going to be very, very careful about who they let back in. They're going to evacuate all these civilians. Ethnic Ukrainians make up a slim majority in these areas. But ethnic Russians are the next biggest group. And so Russia wants to get all these ethnic Ukrainians out of there. So they're going to try to evacuate all these civilians for their protection. Anytime the government's trying to protect you, it's a racket. Government doesn't give a rat's ass about you. Anytime the government's trying to protect you, it means they're trying to oppress you. So Russia's going to get all the civilians out of these areas, and then they're only going to let the ones back in they want, the ones that the ethnic Russians and the ones that are sympathetic to Russia's priorities. So that's all this is about. Get as many of the Ukrainians out of Donbass as possible. Get the international community to have some concessions towards these two little breakaway republics in Donbass, so that Putin can tie them closer to him, and he can get closer to having the Crimea be an integral part of Russia. It's very, very simple. If you look at the map, if you read the history, it just slaps you in the face. Just absolutely slaps you in the face. There's no way around it. He's not going to war. He can't afford to lose a war. That's the thing. He can't afford to lose a war because if he does, he loses all credibility and his plans are ruined for the rest of his lifetime. So he cannot afford to lose a war. He can't necessarily afford to win that war either, because now he's got to do something with Ukraine once he owns it. All he's doing, I'm just going to repeat myself, I'm sorry, I have a bad habit of that. He wants these two breakaway provinces in Donbass to be part of Russia. And this is how he gets concessions out of the international community towards that way. And it's also how he now gets opponents into these two regions out of the way, because now they've been evacuated, and now they're not going to be let back in. Guarantee it. Well, I shouldn't say I guarantee it. You never know what, when people are being stupid things can happen. But I am, the more I read about it, the more convinced I am that this is what's going on, and this is how it's going to play out. Now, President Poopy Pants, let me show you something. Because President Poopy Pants is so weak, Putin's trying to get away with this right now. Let me show you what else President Poopy Pants did for us today. This is it's propane bottle. I think it's a 100-gallon bottle. It's either a 100-pound bottle or a 100-gallon bottle. I can't remember which. Within the last 3 years, to fill that bottle was $45. We use it to run our kitchen stove. That's all we do with it. Mariah likes to cook over flame. So we have to fill it about twice a year usually. And when we first started filling it 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago, maybe 4, it was $45 to fill that bottle with propane. Today I went up to there to get it filled, and I knew the prices were up some, so I handed the guy $60, and he looked at me and he's like, it's $75. It has gone up $30 over 3 years, 4 years, whatever it's been, to fill that stupid bottle of gas. It is unsat, gentlemen, unfreaking sat. That, I mean, it hasn't doubled, but it's kind of almost sort of moving towards doubling in price for this propane over 3 or 4 years. I came back to the bad light. I'm sorry. And that is also due to President Poopy Pants. President Poopy Pants is an unmitigated disaster of a president. This is insanity, utter insanity. I know that's an easy, lazy way to make a statement, but I don't know what else to say. It's gotten to the point where there's not adjectives. This is an unmitigated disaster of a president. Anyway, man, we appreciate you. Thank you. There will not be World War III over Ukraine. I can't guarantee it, but I am almost as sure of that as I am sure of anything. There will not be World War III over Ukraine. Putin is going to wring every last concession he can out about these two breakaway provinces in Donbass, and then he is going to do everything he can to get all the opposition to him out of those two regions through an evacuation that he then does not allow people back in from unless they agree with him. Men, we appreciate you. Thank you.